let's get into it. This is general game information. So year 7s will be playing on a Tuesday, year 8 and mixed, so combination 7 and 8 teams will play on a Thursday. There's 4 rounds over the night, 4 o'clock, 4:50, 5:40 and 6:30. 6:30 is the start of the last round. So for both nights, they'll finish around 7:15. Travelling schools such as Whanga or Kingsway, for example, they will be kept off the 4 o'clock round just so that they're not having to rush after school, or if you're finishing work, rushing from work, just gives you guys a little bit more time to get down to the courts. Game times, so games are 40-minute games, 4 10-minute quarters, 2-minute breaks, which is quarter time and half time, and then a 4-minute change between games. So that's just allowing a little bit of time for you to maybe do your cheers, shake hands, and then move your things over for those next teams to come through. The point systems, the points are 4 for a win, 2 for a draw, 1 for a bonus. To obtain that bonus, the losing team just needs to score 3 points or less of the winning score, and this will automatically be added through Sporty. Now the arena will be in use. Unfortunately, throughout grading, we won't be using it. This will just be used for the competition rounds. Just note that if you are aiming to make a grade 1 position, that you must be available for the first 2 rounds, so the 4 o'clock and the 4:50 p.m. round, just because we have club premier teams who also play the same night. They begin their competition the first night we start grading. So they will start arriving at 6 o'clock, which is midway through our 5:40 round. There is not enough change over time between the 2 competitions. So grade 1 teams will be inside for the first 2 rounds. If absolutely necessary, we'll play a 5:40 round, but otherwise everyone will be the first 2 and everyone else will be outside. But for grading, just to keep it fair between everyone, we will all be outside. Yay, rain. That was the competition. This is just basic grading info. So we'll have 4 weeks of grading, 1 grading game per week. The times will be the same, 40-minute games with a 2-minute break. Teams will start from the previous year's positions. So, for example, wherever your school's year 8 team 1 finished last year is where your year 8 team 1 will begin this year. And then they'll grade according to how their results go. With year 7s, they will start the same with their relative year 8 team. So, for example, where year 8, we'll go with 1, year 8 team 1 finished last year is where your year 7 team 1 will start this year, if that makes sense. So that's the starting positions, and then they will grade according to how their results go. With grading, there will be significant scores at sometimes. With this, I will move those teams according, but I will look at how they have gone from previous games. So say on their second game, they've had a very big gap. So if there's a very big gap between scores, then I will look at how your team has played from that game in previous games, and then I'll see how your opposition has played with that game and their other game. So it's not just that one game, it's all the games that they've played with. With time requests, there's no time request during grading. The game time that you are given is the game you are expected to play. I will be doing draws weekly, just because everyone will be shifting around a lot. So doing this or requesting these will prolong that draw coming out. It will be different for those who are maybe coaching 2 teams, or they have an umpire who's on multiple teams. Then I'll obviously have those teams on different rounds, but anything non-netball related will be denied. Then with draws, during grading, we don't allow draws, we do need a winner and a loser score. So if by the last two that are going off there is a draw or potentially going to be a draw, your scorers just need to inform the umpires 20-30 seconds before that if there is no goal, game does need to continue. Once that next successful goal is scored, then that's game. I don't see this happening, but if that does continue in that 4-minute period and you are the next team wanting to come on, just come to the control room, we'll put you on the next available court, and then you'll begin your game as per normal. So onto game day. So what you need to know before the game, please come and check in at the control room. This can be you yourself or a parent, a player. However, if it is a player, just ensure they know which team they are, the court they're on, and the time. We've had a few come up and they're not too sure of any of that information. So just ensure that if it is a player, they do know. So please just come in. It's just so that we are aware that you are here. Sometimes there are announcements that might relate to you or be specifically for you, and it's just giving us a little bit of comfort that we know you're here and they'll get to you straight away. Team attendance does need to be completed. This is done on the My Netball Manager app. If you are new, I will go over that over the next few slides on the app itself. And then as well as your team attendance, any substitutes and additional players that will also be filling in on the day. So these need to be done before the game. Also just reminding your players, having their nails cut, hairs tied back, uniform is, they're wearing the correct uniform, and correct footwear. All jewellery needs to come off. This does include anything cultural. The only thing that we allow is medical alert bracelets, and these just need to be taken down to avoid getting caught. After the games, this is another thing I will go over with the app, just ensuring that you have submitted your scores. So this is both teams submitting their scores, and you've vacated the area for that next team to come on and prepare for their game. Shifting on to regulations, Netball New Zealand have a rule that all players must have half a game. This is for this age group. It is up to you, you guys, how you want to split that, whether it's rotated through subgroups or half on, half off. It's completely up to you guys. They just must have half a game at least. Boys can definitely play at intermediate level. We just ask that it's 3 max at any one time, and no two boys in the shooter or defense circle. So if there is a boy playing goal shoot, for example, they appeared with a female goal attack, and vice versa for the defensive circle. I think it was worded that it was 1 in each third, but just with the nature of the game, it is a little bit difficult to do that because it crosses over a lot. So just having 1 male in the shooter or defense circle is okay. And then playing in respective age groups. So year 7s play in year 7s, the year 7 comp, and then year 8s play in the year 8 comp. With the mixed year 7 and 8 teams, those year 7 players can fill in for year 7 teams, year 8s for year 8 teams. No year 8s playing down to year 7s, please. And then if you want just a further in-depth of our regulations, they can be found on our website. Oh, okay, this is a new thing that I actually just got introduced to. So alongside our My Netball Manager app, I do recommend that you download this app called Sporting New Zealand. It is a new thing that we are starting. This will be used to send out any notifications, such as you can hopefully see on screen, any news updates that has our website link that you can go directly to, any registrations or forms that we have open for maybe tournaments or programs, things like that, and contact details to our receptionist. This is new, but the main thing we we'll be using this for is team attendance and just notifying you guys directly. It will be a lot easier just to let you know of things instead of it going from me to coordinators to you. But like I said, mainly for team attendance, I will be pushing down on this a lot more this year. So please just ensure that's done. You will get, if you do have the My Netball Manager app, you will get notifications come through, but it's still developing. There's a bit of technical difficulties with where you actually find that notification if you go back through it. But yeah, I do recommend that you all download this app. And then following on, this is the My Netball Manager app. If you are new to using this app, please download it. This is what we are going to be using for scoring and filling that team attendance. If you have not used it before, you just need to register. It's very simple. You just need your name, email, and then you create your password, and you're pretty much good to go. Teams will receive a special team code to do their scoring. This will be obtained through your school coordinator. However, if you do not get it through them, I'm going to have a full list of everyone's team codes in the control room that you can collect on the first day of grading, if you don't get it before then. If you are taking multiple teams, you can still enter those codes through the one login. Just be aware that when you're scoring your game, you are scoring for the correct team. And then yes, scoring attendance will be done through this, and you can also see the draws and results from past and future games. So this is what's going to come up once you have logged in. Can we see my mouse? I hope so. So this white box is pretty much where, this is one place you can do your team attendance, but the main place is down at the bottom where it will say select team for game. That is where you will complete your team attendance. As you can see here, the dates is quite small. Sometimes people score the wrong game. That's no issue. Just let us know and we will adjust those scores. These white boxes here, they're to see future and past games. You can still see results for past games. Then at the bottom, we have the time of the game, the court, and then the score game button. So once you click this score game button, it will take you to the screen here on the right. Now to begin scoring, once the game has started, you can press start. However, this timer here can be ignored. It will start counting down, but everyone will be going off the central timer that is visible everywhere. So that can be ignored. And then the main thing here is scoring. So you can see here we've got goal and miss. Now we do not care about missed goals. We only care about those that scored. However, if you want to do personal team statistics, there is a PDF that shows all of that once you have submitted your scores. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome. But we just care about those that scored. It will just come up in a tally sort of format when the goals are done. If you know that a goal has been scored, but you're not sure if it was a goal attack or goal shoot, just pick anyone as long as that score has been recorded. So that is to score the game. And then this one here is what's going to pop up once you log in. And then following along from that, so internet connection is needed to load and submit scores. However, it is not needed to use during the game. Oh, my mic just gone blank. That's okay. Yeah, it is a question that was brought up over, I think we used this over last year, but you don't need it to use during the game. So only selecting those goals that is made. Score submission is to be done by both. So scoring does need to be done by both teams. It is the same as the paper scorecard, except both sides are doing it. This score submission will come up as an option at the end of the game. As long as you are both happy and in agreement with the score, then you can just submit this. If no one has access to a phone or one team has access to a phone, then you can just use that and pretend it's like paper scorecard, just making sure that the scores are being done. However, if no one at all can get the app or has the app, then come to the control room and we will quickly write you up a paper scorecard. Just with scoring, it is best to have minimum 2 people. 3 is a really good number, just in case someone is away, you know that you have someone else there, just in case. Okay, so that's scoring. Moving on to substitutions. Substitutions can not be a player from a higher team. So if I am in team 4, for example, I cannot pull a player down from team 3. I can only pull a player up from team 5. Pulling players from a higher to a lower team will be an instant lose by default. However, bottom graded teams might be the wrong wording, but say, for example, there's only 4 teams in the school. I am in team 4. We obviously cannot pull from the 5th team. So this is the only situation that you can pull a player from a higher team into a lower team, because there's no bottom, there's no lower team to pull from. Then with the Sporty app, just ensuring that they have been recorded alongside your original players. There is an option where once you select your team, if you do have any subs, then you can select those substitute players. I believe it's before you submit the score that there's a note section. If you do have subs that are not found from another team to put in, then just write their first name, last name, and then that team that they are in. Any issues, come to the control room. Additional players are also involved in this. So this is someone who might not have gone through the registration process and was pulled in last minute. They must fill an online form. This can be done at the control room. We do have iPads and they can just fill out their details. This needs to be done before they take the court and play the game. Once this is filled, there is a payment that needs to be done. This is just $10 and needs to be paid. I believe there is an option, I might need to be refreshed on this, but I believe there is an option on there to invoice the school if you don't want to pay it personally. And then 3 up rules. So this is related to only grade 1 teams. So if your team does make grade 1 and you are wanting to pull a player up from, say, a grade 2, so your 7-1 and 7-2, if you are in 7-1 and you need to pull a player from 7-2, they have 2 games without any consequences. If on the 3rd time they get asked to play, 2 things can happen. So if they get asked to come and play but they do not take the court, then that's okay. There's no consequences with that. However, if they do get asked to play and they take the court on that 3rd game, they are now considered a part of 7-1 and no longer a part of 7-2. So this is any player that's coming up into a grade 1 team. On that 3rd time they take court, they are no longer a part of their previous teams. So just be aware that they're not only playing for your team, they are also playing for their own team. So if possible, it can be hard with positional or just the players that they have available. Just be a little bit aware of that. Shifting on to injuries. On-court players are the only people to alert the umpire of an injury. If the injured cannot themselves, then anyone on court can alert the umpire of an injury. If this does happen, time will be indicated. It's about 30 seconds, but changes are made quite quickly, so it doesn't usually meet that 30 seconds. but they just need to be made as quickly and safely as possible. During this time, the opposition can make changes. They just need to be made in the same time as the original team. If not, the position will be left vacant. At this age, umpires are quite nice, I feel like, about that sort of thing. So if the ball's down the other end, then they might just let them come on. Otherwise, it would be during a penalty, throw-in, and if a goal has been scored. If you do have a player that is in that vacant position, just take them to the umpire, let them know that they're ready to go on court, and the umpire will let them know. Anything major, we do have the physio on site at all times to help if need be. If it is a major injury and that player cannot move, we could stop the game, or we can move onto another available court, just come to the control room and continue on as normal. Okay, so following on from that, we have court protocols. So it is similar, but a little bit different between outside and in the arena. So if you're on outside, there are places for you guys as coaches and managers and your team to be, and there is a place for spectators to be. So the motorway side of the court is for you guys, your umpires, your scorers, and all your players. Everyone else that is not involved in the team is to be on the other side, or the cricket field side of the court. This is for spectators. If you do have those niggly parents who like to get involved, maybe chuck them on the flip charts to keep them busy. But please just remind your parents that they are to be on the other side of the court. But I mean, that's up to you if you're okay to have them by you. Scorers are to be with you guys, but in the middle, one from each team standing next to each other, scoring as per usual. No teams are to be situated on the baseline. This is to be free for umpires to run. And then moving on to the arena, the setup is a little bit different. Teams and spectators are right next to each other. So with court 1, you are close to the motorway against that far wall. There are tables in the center of each court with brown chairs alongside. Those are for you and your teams. Sit closest to the table. You guys have priority of your teams. So with those playing inside, maybe keep the parents down one end of those brown chairs if they are available, and have you guys and your team closest to the table, just so then they're not getting in the way. You can talk to your team and have those team conversations. So that's on the motorway side. There are a couple bleachers, but there is not as much space as court 2. So court 2 is the same setup with the tables in the center and then the chairs on the outside. However, they have more bleachers and seating along the window where the cafe is. So that's for spectators. But like I said, with the outside courts, if you are happy to have those spectators and parents sit around, then by all means, that is completely up to you guys. But we do recommend to keep them separate, just to avoid any constant chatter, I guess. The same as outside, no situating on the baselines, and when you're inside, no situating in the middle. There is literally no space for anyone to be situated, as umpires from both sides of the court are constantly running up and down. And then just with wet weather, we are a winter sport, so there is going to be times where it does rain. So currently we do have a little bit of carpet removal from flooding, so there's not as much carpet to wipe your feet. We do have towels to dry shoes, but if possible, to walk on the perimeter of the courts, just to stop or slow the tracking of water, as once those courts do get wet, they do get really slippery. So we want to make sure that those courts are nice and dry for all of those players. And then just reiterating, so left side is for team benches, right side is for spectators, with the arena, team bench on the motorway on court 1, and then team bench by the cafe on court 2. And then with warm-up courts, we have 3, 4, and 5, and any other available courts on the evening. And then we also have the concrete strip here behind court 1 and alongside court 13 and 14. Please no warming up on the car park, but I feel like I don't really need to tell you that, but please no warming up on the car park. Also, especially with wet weather, players do tend to throw the balls around the building. If you could just please remind them to not do that. I know it will be hard, especially when it does start raining and there's less space, but this is just health and safety. Those balls can go flying and hit windows, and we don't want any incidents involving that. Okay, so moving on to our control room. Our control staff are here from the start of your first game to the end of your last game. They are here for check-ins, scoring, app help, the list right here, anything that you need, any questions about the comp or just general netball things, they will be here to help, especially with any queries or issues or incidents that may happen over the night. The few points that I do want to highlight is scoring and attendance help. So like I said, with score codes, we will have score codes available if you do need them on the night. Additional players, we have iPads for you guys, additional players to fill out. Just come to the control room. And finding substituted players. So if there's anyone that should be on a list to pull up but they're not there, then we could just double check if they actually have registered properly or not, or anything like that. On-court support and problems over the night. If anything comes up during the game, doesn't matter what's going on, you want some help, then we will come, the control staff, they will come and help where need be. Please come during the game. We can monitor the situation a lot better if we're able to see what's happening. We can only take your word and the other team or whoever is involved. We can only take word, and that's not as solid as actually seeing it. So come to the control room, we'll come out and assess the situation. If we need to talk to anyone, we will do that. We will come out in our red jackets, our red vests. Usually if we do that, then people do tend to settle down at that point because they're like, oh, okay, the bosses are here, so we probably shouldn't be acting up right now. So usually settles down, but we could stay for the whole game if you like. We'll come and talk to you or whoever is involved to see if you're okay, and then stay if need be. Sometimes we might come out incognito, so we'll just come in normal clothes so we can better assess the situation. If it does escalate, then we'll chuck the jacket on and sort the problem out if there is a problem. If there's anything major that does happen, the players, spectators, you guys representing your school. So anything major, we will get in touch with the schools and it'll be dealt with accordingly. But we haven't had anything like that, so let's keep it like that. Okay, so shifting on to first aid. Each team should hopefully have a first aid kit. If not, maybe get in touch with your sports coordinator or your school coordinator to see if there is anything like bandages, plasters, anything like that. Maybe have some spare hair ties and bobby pins. We've had a couple girls that came up last year that asked them, so it might be good to have those in your first aid kit as well. But we do have our sport injury clinic or physio or sick clinic, which we will most likely say. They are there for anything sport related, injury related, anything like that. They do have ice, so we might have a couple ice packs, but you and your players' best chance is to go to the sick clinic. They do have a bin outside that does have a bunch of ice packs that you can collect from. So that would be your first stop, I would say. These guys can be found by the coffee shop, and they will have wheelchairs outside. So once those wheelchairs are out, then you know they're in business for you guys. At the injury clinic, alongside their physios, they may have a doctor and a nurse on side. So anything that physios cannot do, then they will also be there to help and assist you guys. And then just as a coach and manager, just being aware that you might have players with medical conditions or physical disabilities, and just making sure that you have their medication, or you know that there is someone like their parent or their caregiver who is on standby if need be. Shifting on to umpires. So teams are to supply their own umpires, whether this be through the school or through yourself if you do know someone. Teams are to have their own umpires. If they are a young umpire, so someone who is the same age as the players, a couple years older, please ensure that they have someone on the side to just support them, give them that encouragement or that critique where they need. With this age, there are a couple, or there are going to be parents who are going to be quite verbal with how people umpire. So having that support person for the young umpire will just ensure that their confidence isn't diminished and they're able to make those clear and good calls for all your guys' teams. We, Netball North Harbour, can supply you an umpire, but there are no guarantees that we can give you one. But just get in touch. We will do our best. If it's on the day or a couple of days before, then what we will do is make an announcement before your rounds, asking if there's anyone who is available to umpire. And then what they'll do is they'll come to the control room and we will send them off to your court. If that is the case, or you have just asked for one, please ensure that a $10 fee must be paid in cash to the umpire before the game has started. If it is a very, very last minute, then just ensure that you have. Otherwise, we will just note the team down for who has requested of an umpire. But yeah, if you do ask for one on the night, please know that we can't guarantee an umpire, but we will do our best to help find one for your team. The umpire's decision is final. So as a player myself, I know that umpires make some iffy calls, but you just got to roll with the punches and take it as it is. So yeah, just respect the umpire's call, whether you agree with it or not. They are the ones who start and stop the game. If there are any issues, come to the control room. Like I said, during the game, we can do our best to help. Sharon Fraser, who is our umpire coordinator, may be on site and might be able to come and help out with anything. So you guys, as coaches and managers, please, it is not recommended to umpire your own team. Whether it's I was going to say bias, but it's not bias. Whether it's an experience thing or something like sometimes umpires who are coaching their own teams may only look at their own team or the opposition's team. So it is not recommended that you coach your own team, whether that is grading and competition. But just note, if it is the last straw and that's all you have, if you do umpire your own team, you are unable to talk to them during the breaks. So if you umpire your team, unfortunately, you are now considered an umpire and not a coach and manager of that team. So just be aware with that if that is the last straw, if you are unable to get an umpire. With grade 1 teams, for the grade 1 finals, so your 7-1 and 8-1 finals, Netball North Harbour will supply you with an umpire. Otherwise, throughout the whole competition, if there is an umpire that has been seen that might not be at the right level, we'll just Sharon Fraser will most likely be the one to just have a look, see if they're okay, and then give them any tips for development. Then during games, as the coach and manager, you guys are not to approach the umpire. Only team captains, or if you don't have a set team captain, just a player, the allocated player from the team, they are the only people who can go and have those questions or queries with the umpire. Whether that be about their cause itself or a player on the court, please do not approach the umpire. That is a player's job that you can send them off to do. Court discipline. So players need to be aware of their actions, whether those actions are verbal or physical. They do need to watch themselves, just because it can escalate into something that is unnecessary. The game can get rough. We are now considered we are now considered a contact sport, and sometimes in the heat of the game, things may escalate. So just if you can, just remind your players that they are being not watched, but they are being monitored by the umpire, and umpires can make those decisions about their actions if need be. So if anything does get out of hand on court, the following steps would happen. So a caution will be given to that player. So anything aggressive, unnecessary, they just need to change it. If they do not, then a warning will be given to them, and a suspension will be followed if not. If they still do not change their behaviour, that player will be suspended and they will need to come off the court for 2 minutes. That position is now left vacant for that 2-minute period. Then once they come on, they still do not change, the player will be asked to permanently leave the game, and for the remainder of that game, that position is now left vacant. This can also be applied to team, bench, and spectators, but this has not happened. I do not expect this to happen. It is intermediate level. We are just wanting to get everyone out on the court, let those kids just go hard and have fun. But if things do come down to it, this is what will happen. But I genuinely don't see anything like this happening. So just kids, they just want to have fun, get out on the court. School duty night. So this is a night that all schools will be involved with. It is a rostered night that will happen one night, maybe two, over the throughout the whole season. So this is just to help our control room ensure that everyone who is here is following and respecting our facilities and rules. Around the courts, no dogs, unless it's a support dog. No bikes, scooters, skateboards, remote control cars or anything like that. No stiletto heels, the really pointy ones, and umbrella points, especially the middle ones. With umbrella points, just reminding, if you do see anyone in your team with them, to not have them pointed into the ground, maybe upside down, resting on their foot, something like. Smoking, please do not do this on the courts. It's just, it's not nice. And they will be asked to just come out, on the bank, just by our car park. Anyone with prams, then just or trolleys or anything like, just having them sideways to keep pathways clear. That's mainly outside. With the arena, no food or drink is, I should have said this before, no food or drink is allowed in the arena. Just sipper bottles or anything that can securely shut. And also no umbrellas or anything like that into the arena. Tracks, water can be quite dangerous when it gets wet and slippery. So just keep those at the door. Young children to be supervised at all times. And then this last one, no running up the ramp, throwing balls around the function room. This relates to not only children or younger siblings, but players, so your guys players as well, especially when it does get wet. We do ask that, although it is quite tempting, to not warm up or anything in the function room or in the ramp or anywhere around the building. This is just for building. Oh my god, sorry, I'm going mind blank. This is to be careful of the building because we don't want to damage anything, especially with balls flying around, if it is balls flying around. So yeah, those are the main things on the school duty night. This will be issued later on once I have finalized teams and things like that. What will happen is that if you are part of a larger school, then you will be rostered on maybe a couple nights. It is up to you guys. I will spread everyone out just so then you maybe want to do the round before or the round after. If you are a smaller school, then I will pair you with another smaller school, just so then you're not having to take that one night all for yourself, and it's not really fun if you're a small school. You play at maybe 4:50 and you're having to do school duty at a 6:30 round. So if you are a small school, then I will pair you with another one to help balance it out. With that, it is up to you guys in school how you want to divvy that up. Okay, so moving on to car park. Previously, we did have Māori wardens here monitoring it. However, we don't have them this year. So the car park might be a little bit more hectic this year. So just please be wary. If you are leaving, please just take the left-hand exit. All of those cars turning right do create a lot more traffic. So if you can, turn left. If you can have your players carpool, that would be great. So then I guess you guys won't need to be late or your players won't be late or anything. The car park is not Netball North Harbour property, it's actually Auckland Council. So we do get car park queries, but we are unable to do much about that as we do not own it. And then just for you guys to remind your players to walk on the footpath or the field along the sides of the car park, just to keep that middle bay clear of anyone and avoid any incidents or accidents. And then that bottom point, no more maps in the car park. Like I said, including our office building and area, it's pretty common for, especially on rainy days, for players to be passing balls around the cafe, control room, and that sort of area. Please just remind players to not. It may be very tempting, but health and safety of not only other people, but then safety of the building, and there is a lot of glass around. So no warm-ups in the car park and building. And in the arena, there isn't a lot of place to warm up anyways, apart from the court itself. Cancellations. So netball is rarely cancelled unless it is going to be very significant, very heavy, very gustly, tornado-y winds, rain, that sort of thing throughout the whole night. Other than that, netball will always go ahead. If you're unsure if netball is going to go ahead, please check the following: Instagram, Facebook, our website. We will have a big red banner saying whether it is on or not. And then maybe your coordinator might have sent a message to all teams. If we do cancel, we will make a final decision by 1 p.m. on the day. We will just monitor the weather, see how it goes. If it isn't looking too great, then we will make that call by 1 and then aim to get in touch with you all by 2 p.m. With the Sporting New Zealand app, this will be one way that we will let you guys know. And then just reiterating from the start, for the game, making sure that uniform and correct footwear is on, you have your equipment. If you do need bibs, we do have some in the control room. We will just take your team name and then they just need to be returned after. Nails cut, hair tied, if you need to cut their nails, probably remind them before warm-up. That might be the best. So then once they've checked just before the game, they're not having that last-minute rush. We do have a pair of clippers hanging on a chain next to the control room door. However, with probably 80 plus teams, there could be a lot of kids. So if anything, I would recommend to just remind them before warm-up. The drink bottle's filled up and ready to go. We do have a tap by the officials room. You have checked off your attendance, including any substitutes and additional players. Checked in at the control room, that's all good to go, and your score has been organised. Then after the game, score has been submitted and agreed upon by both parties. Any problems after the game, maybe come together so then we can get the full story. But if it's something small, then that's okay. But yeah, any problems, just come to the control room. If you have used a paper scorecard, then just return that if the umpire cannot, because maybe they have another game. And then making sure that your area is cleaned up. If you're on court, then just making sure everything has been tidied up. If you are using the function room, that the table that you have set your things by is all tidied up, or rubbish and that collected and put into the rubbish bin. And then just making sure that you have left enough time for that next team to come and set up for their game. Okay, oh, I think I missed it. Oh, okay, so this is just some other things. Like I said, if you would like to have a deeper look at our rules and regulations, this document can be found on our website. If you go to the About Us tab and then the NNH policies. Then if you would like to get more info on the rule book, these are for sale in the control room for $7. An online version is also available through Netball New Zealand. Team meets can be done in the function room. Please do not meet up and camp your things in the cafe. This is for cafe use, so eating, drinking, maybe watching the games that's inside. But please do not meet in there. That is for upstairs. We do have coach and manager handbooks. Oh, I should have brought one up. The little grey booklets. And it's just got basic things you can do, rotations, you can make notes about each players or anything about the game that you might want to do for next time. I will be sending out to schools if anyone would like one. They are $6 and will be available through your school coordinator. Okay, so these are our season dates. Year 7s will start grading on the 2nd of May through to the 23rd of May. Year 8s will start grading from the 4th of May through to the 25th of May. This is the second week second week of term 2. So after the upcoming school holidays, everyone will have a week before we get into grading. These saver days for the 30th of May year 7s, 1st of June year 8s. If something happens, we need to move a game, that game will then be played on these 2 dates. But if not, then everyone will have a week break before we move into our competition, which will then be the 6th of June for year 7s starting their competitions, and year 8s will start on the 8th of June. And then the same thing, if a game does happen to get pushed, then we will play that on the saver date. If not, after that last competition game, everyone will have 1 week break before a final. Everyone will be playing their final game. Year 7's on the 15th of August and year 8's on the 17th of August. Tournaments. Okay, so I'll just briefly go over this. This is in yellow because this is the tournament that is coming up soon in a couple of weeks. Registrations are open. They are available to your school teams. However, if you do know anyone that might want to put in a social team, they are more than welcome to do that as well. Registrations can be done through the Netball North Harbour website. So this is a pre-season tournament for years 7, 8, 9, 10. Then after that, we have our mid-season. This is on the 11th of June. Saver date for that will be the 25th of June. More information will come out soon, but that preseason one is coming up soon. So if you would like to join, then I recommend. It might be a good chance to see how your team goes against other teams. Then we have our 2+ tournament or 2 to 4 tournament and zone days. So zone day is held here in Netball North Harbour, but it is run through schools by Carmel College. So I guess you just have to talk to your school coordinator about that and any information that comes with that. With the intermediate 2+ tournament, this is for anyone who does not attend zone day. So zone day, to my understanding, is for those top teams and any boys teams that they put in. If you do not attend zone day, then you can come to this 2+, but generically it is for those teams numbered 2, 3, 4, etc. If there is a team 1 that might end up in a lower grade, then they are okay to come as well. But yeah, this is just a chance because those top teams get a tournament. This is just a chance for everyone else to also have a go or have another tournament. This is a midweek one though, on Wednesday, the 19th of July. Then other dates and events, so prize giving will be for winners and runners-up only. This year it is going to be a bit different. We are splitting up the year 7s and year 8s, just so that, you know, if you are one of those first groups that go up, you're not waiting until the very end. So we've decided to split it, have year 7s first, and then later on have the year 8s. AIMS is happening in September. This is through your school organisation. And then we have, so we have a PDP program. This is just a player development program that will run for 4 weeks, year 7s and 8s. So players will trial to go into this. The trials are, off the top of my head, the first weekend back from the school holidays. So school holidays, everyone will be back for that first week, and they will have the trials that first weekend. But I will be sending out more information to school coordinators if you'd like to know more about that, but I do believe it is already on our website. Oh, yes, this is it. And remember to have fun with the sport we love. This is netball, this is intermediate competition. They're not superstars yet. We just want to get them out there, have fun, and enjoy the sport. To you guys as coaches and managers, thank you for giving up your time. It is not always the easiest job, but it is definitely a very rewarding job. So just get out there, have fun, and see your kids grow and develop. So yeah, this is the end of the Zoom.